This podcast is brought to you by The Healthy Hub.
Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Just to Kick It Is a Blessing podcast with your host, Keith Tupac Gatiramu. And today is a very, very special episode again, in studio with me. Today, I'm sure he's on the other side of the mic. I'm sure he's not used to that, but I have a very good friend with me. And without further ado, I'll let him introduce himself.
What's good, guys? My name is Frankie, or Frankie The Brand, for those who don't know. I'm a radio presenter, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm an event promoter, stroke organizer.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
What's the real name? Mama?
Francis Theuri Ndungu. Gina's a ID.
Sawa. For those who don't know, it's good now,
Yeah.
And before we even get to why we're here today, I just want to tell you, bro. First of all, thank you for what you have done for the upcoming artists, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I just want to actually tell the people listening at home that every time Kobe, Kahush, Mask, and all the other friends of theirs that are in music are dropping something, you're literally the first person I call.
Yeah.
Because they're always like, Tupac, I want an interview.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the only person I can think that can give you that is you.
Yeah.
And you have done that. And since I think the first time any of them have done, their brands have grown. And I want to say thank you.
And I think it also just goes with good music sells itself.
Yeah.
Because I remember the first time I heard Missy Wezi. We were at a club and you actually FaceTimed Kahush. He was back in the UK.
Yeah.
And that song was played like 3-4 times. And I was like, which song is this? That's when I started paying attention. And then now when he came back, we did the interview and look at him now, man's a star.
Yeah. I remember even, unfortunately, when you guys were doing the shows, I wasn't around, but I remember you FaceTimed me through the whole show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and bro, it was amazing, But anyways, tell us how you got into this industry of yours.
Oh, wow. So I started immediately after high school because around my third form is when I started getting interested about events and the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
So when I finished, I started hitting up DJ Krim because I was a fan of his music and how he used to do his thing. Yeah. So I was just like, let's work on something. Is there anything I can do? Because I was just shooting my shot. You never know. Anything can happen. So I kept bugging him. Then he threw me to one of his partners. And that's how I ended up getting into the scene. I started off as a marketer. See how everyone now is always a marketer and influencer. Yeah. I started by pushing the Hakuna Matata festival. That was back in 2014. So I'd say it's been roughly around 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's...
Every year has been a year of learning, a year of discovery, a year of also just pushing yourself to go further than what you did.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, bro, to work on something consistently, from 2014 to now, it it must be crazy. And that brings me to my next question. Along the journey, what has been 3 of your biggest takeaways?
In terms of events or in terms of self-accomplishment?
Bro, give us both. We're here to learn. Give us both.
So in terms of self-accomplishment, it made me realize that it made me push myself to boundaries I never thought I could.
Yeah.
It also made me learn more about how this industry is run and how certain things go and certain things don't go. It also just lets you lend a ear to... One thing I love about this new industry is, not new, but one thing I love about the whole new wave coming in is that we have a lot of people on ground. So you just have to find that perfect balance between trying to stay relevant and figuring out what's new. Yeah. You get what I mean? Because there's a lot happening behind the scenes that people don't know. And it's unless someone who's in a position to give them that platform, you never really know who's going to be the next big thing. Yeah. In terms of events, I'd say the biggest ones I've been fortunate enough to be involved in: Chronics, Conscience, and of course Mr. Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those 3 for me are lessons that I even sit back and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
I was actually involved in something this powerful. Yeah.
And now that you've actually said it, do you get to enjoy those kind of events being back since? Because it must be crazy to run an event, first of all.
It is.
You know?
It is.
Yeah.
It's not a lie. People think that it's just, you pay the artist, you bring them, you pay people for sound to do your stage and everything, and you're good.
Yeah.
People don't really know what happens behind the scenes. Trust me, if you're not planning to do events, or if you want to do events, just make sure you have patience and you're willing to go through every single emotion. It's not a walk in the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, I now that you actually said that behind the scenes and what, and I remember a while back, like one of our guys, you know, he brought in an artist, and he was telling me how that artist was a headache for him. Like, firstly, they were meant to do a private show, which they didn't attend, yet everyone was there waiting for him. He wanted just to chill in the hotel room, have milkshakes and play PlayStation instead of, you know. So, like, have you gone through a similar experience?
Slightly similar, but not the same.
Yeah.
With techno, he was really a star. Yeah. I can't lie. For him, like, even trying to get him to just go for media tours was a headache.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but I think my last straw is when he didn't show up for soundcheck and he sent his team to just do the soundcheck for him. I mean, the show sold itself. You saw what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it was actually one of the most complained shows online.
Yeah. Because, you know, at the end of the day, it also begins with the artist. If you have a good relationship with the artist, then everything will flow. Because some artists just come with the mentality of, I'm a star, you can't tell me anything. Yeah. But at the end of the day, your fans are the ones who put you there. Yeah. So you owe it to them to give them a good show. Yeah. Yeah.
I want now, like, in a situation like that, like when you're signing or making a contract, there's no clauses that tie him to do certain things, or
now you see the beauty about it is with every event, it's a learning lesson. Oh yeah. So once you see certain things from this artist, you just inform your legal team or the people drafting the contract. Make sure you have this clause in or remove this one, just so you can safeguard your interests as well. Yeah. Because anything can happen. Like recently, there was an event that happened a few months back. Yeah. There was one major artist who was supposed to come. Yeah. But he didn't show up. Not because of any situation or everything, but he just didn't feel like showing up. Well, so sometimes at the end of the day, you have to put in clauses that also protect your interests in case something like that happens.
And for me, like, one of the things that puzzles me about this, like, events and everything was, like, how do you also try and separate yourself, like, from the artist? You see, like, that with that whole techno, like, mishap and everything, how were you guys able to, like, come and rebrand your, you know, re-image yourself? Because, you know, a lot of people be like, yeah, it was a shit concert, but they're not really even putting that much emphasis on the artist. They're just saying the whole experience as a whole. You get?
Yeah. I think there's two ways to look at it. Yeah. One is you really have to convince your audience that that wasn't your fault, it was the artist's fault, which is the hardest part. Or two, you just have to bite the bullet and be like, we'll move forward with whatever we have. Whoever comes. Whoever doesn't, well and good. And sometimes the second module often works for most people, because trying to convince people it was the artist's fault, it ends up like you're trying to defend yourself or you're trying to throw the blame away. Yeah. So most of the time, the second option is what most people often go with. Yeah. Just go forward with whatever you have. Whoever comes. Because at the end of the day, it's not tied down to, you have to come to my event. My event is the best. You're giving an experience to different people every time. You're not giving an experience to Tupac only. You're not giving an experience to Frankie only. Every time you do something, there's always someone new who never experienced what you're doing. Yeah. And that's why I took it upon myself to just try and do something different every time. Everything I've been involved in is just try give someone a different experience. Let someone leave with, by the way, when this happened, I'll remember it. Or this particular moment happened, I remembered it. Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, even me, when I look at it and I see that, like, at it, is I think that you guys, your industry is probably one of the hardest industries to be in. Because you have, first of all, it attracts so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, all those people expect different things.
Exactly.
So then how do you balance it out, you know?
Another thing you've also missed out on is people feel so entitled.
Oh, yeah, true.
Like you've not even, okay, fine. You've paid for your ticket. We really appreciate it and we thank you for supporting us.
Yeah.
We understand you have certain, what's it called? We have certain standards that you expect from an event.
Yeah.
Or certain ways you want to see things going. Not everything goes as planned. Where it's our fault, we fully accept our blame and we come out and we give statements. But where it's not, sometimes it's just nature, or rather it's out of your control. There's nothing really you can do. So that's why I feel like this is one of the most thankless professions, because people feel so entitled to every single thing that you do. And at the end of the day, I get that you have the right to complain, but some people take it a notch further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when was it? I think I think like 2-3 months ago, I was listening to some conversation with, what's this guy? The guy that manages Justin Bieber. He's even in the thing for Popstar.
Who, Scooter Brown?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Scooter Brown was actually just giving, he was talking, I think, to, I don't know if is it Demi or someone.
Mm-hmm.
And him and Demi were just basically having this conversation, and Demi was like, Scooter, how can I be a role model? And Scooter told him, you can't be a role model. What you can be is a real model. And a real model allows you to make mistakes.
True.
And be the person you are. Because I understand in your industry, there's nothing like mistakes, you know?
Oh, literally everything is under the microscopic lens. Like you have to do everything by the book. You have to make sure things go a certain way. And that's why sometimes when things don't go that way, you see people starting to complain, oh, you had enough time to do this. Why didn't you do this? Like, unless you are literally in the shoes of the organizer or the promoter, you really don't have much to say about.
Yeah.
Like we get, you're disappointed because this and this didn't go well, but a lot of things happen. You've seen it. Yeah. You've been fortunate enough to be around some of us when all of this is happening. Yeah. So you know how sometimes things go from 100 to 0 real quick. Yeah. So it's just a matter of doing your best and just hoping everything goes well. Because I keep saying with events, you're never really sure if it's a success or not until the last minute.
Yeah. But you know, events is not even like what scares me about that is your other career. You know, being a radio presenter is tough. We see people getting cancelled the other day just off probably something like was a mistake. You get, so for you to sit in that, you know, how do you do it? You know, for me, at least when I sit here, I know there's a bit of preparation. Yeah. There's follow 1, 2, 3, then build up on this 2, 2. But you see, for you, it's
so. Now you see, for radio, I think the issue is you just have to be on your A game every time you turn on the mic. Yeah. Like whether you've had we always joke around in the office and say, whether you have a good day, a bad day, or your worst day, you leave your problems outside the door. The moment you turn on that mic, you're the happiest person in the world. Yeah. Because the rule with radio is you act like you're talking to one person. Like it's like me and you having a conversation, but I can't see you. Yeah. You get what I mean? So that's why you just have to always be on your A game. You know, although sometimes mistakes may come about, I think it's just how you handle the situation. Yeah. Yeah. Because radio is a very scary, as much as people think all presenters do is just come at the time slot they're given and just turn on the mics and talk. There's a lot that actually goes behind you going on and actually doing that show. Yeah, could you give an example? Maybe there's someone listening that wants to be a radio presenter, you know? For example, like you have to prep every single day. I was even joking with one of our boys. Like when he started radio, he thought, it's easy. I'm just going to be showing up, doing my show and just leaving. Yeah. Until he was shown the demographics of radio and he was like, wow, this is actually a full-time job. People just think it's for fun. Yeah, no. Actually, the thing is, because also I have him on streak, So like
I usually see his snaps like, I have to,
exactly,
prep. And
exactly. So
like-
prepping is one of the things, and prep can start as soon as you finish your show.
yeah.
Like, I'm done with my show today, I'm already starting to prep for tomorrow.
Wow.
You go into the office, people think you just show up at, let's say for example, like my show, it's around 7 to 10 p.m. People think I show up at like 6:30. Sometimes you end up even being in the office from around 3-4.
Wow.
Just prepping or trying to find, because there's days you can't find anything.
Yeah.
You just have to figure out how you're going to structure your show for a whole 3-4 hours.
Yeah, because that's tough though.
Yeah.
Me, I think like I'm here like Thursday is just one.
Exactly.
It's just one day a week.
And I imagine doing it every single day.
It must be madness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's something that you said, and in my show I really talk a lot about this. Is you said sometimes you could have the worst day ever, but in the studio you're the happiest day ever. So
True.
how do you also balance that aspect of your work and mental health? Because I don't know if you saw that Akon, when Akon was asked about the guy who died recently, that actor, I don't know his name, but the one for
Friday.
the one for The Wire, is it The Wire? Something. Yeah. Akon said that the saddest thing is a lot of famous and rich guys are even worse off than other people because they're constantly used to forming a certain image which might run away from who they really are.
That's the saddest part, and you've also seen it with some of our friends, like people who are fortunate enough to be in the limelight or to be recognized. It's hard trying to be yourself around normal people because they expect you to have a certain image and to carry yourself in a certain way. So when you don't do that, it becomes an issue. You get what I mean? So I think for radio, it's a hard nut to crack, but the issue is once you find that perfect balance, even I sometimes struggle with it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone who's really cracked that perfect balance between being okay, trying to hide your emotions, because sometimes it gets the better part of you. We've seen notable names lose it on air.
Yeah.
We've seen people go from being okay to being absolutely not okay. So I feel like nobody in the media, I don't think there's anyone I've seen who really has that perfect balance between that person, mental health and radio life. Yeah, but it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Like every day it's a learning curve.
Like, do you think also like your kind of organizations are doing something to tackle that issue?
It wasn't there, but now it is there, especially with the sudden surge in suicidal deaths and everything. It's something that also bosses are noticing and realizing. So I'd commend the companies that are slowly bringing it into their system to have like a few Zoom calls here and there where people actually talk to a therapist.
Wow.
And just try to figure out their way in life or how they can offload or find someone they can just offload on.
Yeah, because I've had Shema on the show before, and I actually see like, looking at him, and I'm like, does he actually have, time to himself? Because like from Wednesday, Thursday, the guy is booked out.
From Wednesday all the way to Sunday.
Yeah, he's booked. So, like I sometimes I'm like, yo, does he actually even have, time? And, because you're the DJ, you're the one controlling the happiness, you have to be that happy guy, you get?
Yeah.
So I feel like your industry, like that whole thing.
Yeah. And it's something that I've also realized with DJs.
Yeah.
They end up being overbooked, and sometimes they lose themselves in the sauce.
Yeah.
They get caught up in this particular image that people want to have about them. So they totally forget who they are or what they really stand for. And that's why you see people being in deep debts or people killing themselves, or they go into deep depression because they try to find who they once were, but they can't even recognize themselves. Because you're in too deep in this persona that you're trying to maintain, you forget who you really are.
Yeah. And even before I go to my next question, like even the other day I was having a conversation with one of my guys, and I asked him, yo, by the way, what happened to so and so? And he's like, yo, bro, by the way, let me tell you something. You know, the way as we thought that this guy was living lavish, he's in debt badly. They took the car, he's moved back, you know, and I was like, wow. But, you know, because you thought he was that high life entertainer, you know, you had that kind of whatever, that kind of image of this guy in a certain way. But like for you that you've been there and what, how would you advise someone that could slowly go in that direction, you know, now that we have a lot of young superstars coming up, for someone who's been in the game for that long, what piece of advice would you give them?
One is have a team behind you that actually knows who you are, and people who can easily remind you when you forget where you're going, because having a team also keeps you in check. It also just shapes your demographic and your work ethic, because a lot of people want to be instantly famous, or they want to be instantly known, but they really don't know the amount of work that was put in behind
being famous
or getting to where they were. Like me, every time I keep joking with my friends, even you, every time you keep telling me, hey, you're known, I'm like, me, nobody knows me. Because the moment you put it in your head that you're known, it starts bringing a side of you that you really don't know.
Wow.
So the moment you find that balance of just grounding yourself, I think you'll be good. And also just having a team or having a certain circle of friends who just keep you in check helps you a lot.
Yeah. But then also now I want to ask you, you know, like you've dealt with, you know, people before and stuff. And, you know, even like the earlier techno conversation, I've read the people around him are telling him, bro, this is wrong, this is right. How do you still listen to someone like that? Because you know how people are. Like a superstar, he has a big head. You get it sometimes gets to them. So how do you keep that?
I mean, if you can't really get to him directly, you just try figure out how his people can get to him. So that's why most of the time, if the artist is really being a hardhead, you just go to his manager or the people around him or his team, someone who can literally just talk to him and tell him, okay, calm down, this is what you need to do. Because sometimes I feel like the moment they land, they're like, you can't tell me anything. Once they see the fans have appreciated me, I'm getting so much love and everything, it gets into their head, I'm untouchable.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, they forget that they're here because they have to work. As much as it's fun, for them it's a job. Yeah.
All right, and back to events. What's like one of the funniest experiences in your event that has ever happened to you in an event?
Oh my days. Wow. I'd have to think about that one, but one that comes off the top of my head. We had an artist who landed. And the moment he landed, as our entourage, as we were leaving the airport going to his hotel, he told us to stop by Mombasa Road at a certain church just so he can smoke a J.
At a church? Why?
Outside a church. Yeah.
Like what?
So to date, that's off the top of my head, that's one of the funniest moments, because I've never really understood what was the purpose of us stopping outside of a church for him to light a J.
Okay, that actually doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And what's like one of the scariest things that has happened to you in an event?
What people actually don't know is, and to date now we can joke about it, but what people don't actually know is 8 p.m. the day Conscience was supposed to perform. We got a message saying he might not perform.
Wow.
8 p.m. People are already
inside.
People are coming.
Because that day, I think I was almost stepped on. But
that's a story for another day. But yeah, what people don't know is you lot saw Conscience at around midnight. But between 8 p.m. and midnight, whatever happened, it's God.
What?
Yeah, it's God.
You can't.
You can't. We don't know, but it's God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Kumbe, and me, I'm there at the gate. Bro, I'm telling you, we've almost been stepped. Wow. But bro, I think that was actually one of that's the most people I think I've seen at a place.
No, when we did the recon, it was close to around 11,000 people.
Wow, that's the biggest you've done?
That's the biggest event I've been involved in.
Wow. Yeah, that's a crazy
number.
Yeah. Bro, any life advice for us guys, bro?
Life advice, just be true to yourself. Remember who you once were. If you ever get lost in the sauce, remember who you once were. be a straightforward guy, be a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
In this life, whichever field you decide to pursue, there's no time for being a cheeky guy or using shortcuts. I mean, shortcuts come in handy if it's helping you achieve your goal.
Yeah.
But if you're using
But not the wrong
shortcuts,
one.
not the wrong shortcuts. No need to be cheeky. No need to be shortchanging people where you don't need to be. Just be a straightforward, honest, and a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, before actually even we get to Vibes Only and what's Vibes Only, I'll give you some free airtime on my station, Shout out to your next event. You better buy the ticket,
Yeah.
But anyways, you actually said something in the start of this conversation that has stuck with me. And like the fact of a man going out there to ask for something he really needs. How did you get yourself to do that? Because you see, a lot of us men are shy to really get what we want.
It is true.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you really want something, whether you're shy or not, you'll find a way to go for it.
Oh.
I'm an introvert, but I always find a way to get out of my shell when I need to do something.
Yeah.
So even if you're the shyest, but even if you don't feel like talking to people, I feel like once you figure out or you strike that balance, there's always something.
And bro, like even for me, I think it's for you, the fact that you've been learning that since 2014 is amazing, bro. Me, it's just recently, and even I remember when I kept on texting you on that group of ours, for me, you, Kahush, and I kept on asking you, Frankie, when's the date you're giving us? Frankie, when's the date? Kahush would call me like, yo, bro, man, just leave it, bro. If they're not gonna reply, it's not. I'm like, bro, he needs nothing from us. We need something from him. You get? Yeah. So like, bro, the fact that you've actually learned that from a young age is mad, bro. And congratulations, bro. But anyways, tell us about Vibes Only, man.
So Vibes Only is my new baby.
Wow.
Was open in June actually. Sorry. Yeah. So it's me and 3 other people. Big shout out to my boys. Vibes Only all the way. But yeah, I felt like I've gotten to a point where I've learned enough. I've studied the scene enough. So why not just throw myself in the ring? Why not own something that actually, why not have a piece of something that I'm actually involved in fully, not just working behind the scenes like I'm used to in everything that I've been involved in.
Yeah.
So that's how Vibes Only came about. And we're doing our first event in November, our first major event in November. A few more coming before that, so just stick around or keep it on social media to see what we'll be up to. But our first major event is November 13th. We're bringing Adekunle Gold live. So make sure you get your tickets. I'm sure Tupac will give you the link somewhere here.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll ask the team. I'll ask the team to make sure they do that.
But November 13th at Adekunle Gold live, backed by a few big names in Nairobi. I'm sure by when this is airing out, you'll have known. We have Zinia Manasseh, Otile Brown, Nyashinsky, and Fenagetu.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah. So
we're waiting for that.
That's going to be the statement event to throw VO out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's, bro, like, I commend you for starting something. Like, it's always good to, start something. And even the joy you feel when you're starting something, it's amazing. And do you think that's what gives Frankie meaning? Or what gives Frankie meaning, actually? Let me not put your answer in the question.
No.
But what gives Frankie meaning?
It is one of the components that make me me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Frankie stands for the truth.
Yeah.
He stands for openness. He stands for fairness. He stands for giving everybody a chance, regardless of who they are or where they come from. And lastly, I'd say Frankie stands for good vibes. Yeah.
Vibes only.
Vibes only.
Yeah.
Yeah. But aside from that, I really don't. I think you know me better than most, Paco. I'm a very straightforward guy.
Yeah.
If it's possible, it's possible. If it's not, it's not.
Yeah.
There's no two way about it. I hate wasting people's time when I know you could be doing something else. So I'd rather just tell you the truth and move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you've actually run away from my question though. What gives you meaning? You see, for me, like you said, part of what gives me meaning or part of what makes me Tupac is this. You know, like no matter how bad my week has been,
You look forward to your podcast.
I look forward to coming here on Thursday and listening to someone's story and sharing a bit of also what I've learned throughout the week. So that's because there's something my dad told me today that really, like, it really puzzled me a bit, was that, you know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Yeah. Well, you have security, food, safety, those things. Now you see, all of that has been done for us. So now we all are fighting for that self-esteem and self-actualization.
Okay.
You get
you.
Yeah. So now,
for me, I feel like what actually completes me is radio,
yeah,
events.
Yeah.
If I was to categorize them, events come first, because I feel like I've given events my entire life.
Wow.
And I'm still not done. I feel like I'm just starting out.
You are.
Yeah, no, because I was even joking with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And they were telling me how it's been 7 years, but it feels like it's been 2. Because I feel like there's so much more I still need to do. There's so much more I still need to touch. I haven't really touched.
Yeah.
So for me, my family, events, and radio are what complete me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, as we come to the end of this, there's always 2 questions I ask my guest. And the first one is, what advice would you give a young Frankie?
Don't change. Just stay true to who you are.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what are you telling future Frankie?
Future Frankie is 5 years from now, or it's limitless?
Whatever. It's limitless. Like, if you had a chance to speak to the future you, what's that one thing you're constantly telling them?
I'm proud of you. You're doing great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you have anything else to say, but
thank you to you for actually inviting me, because this is something that I always tell you, from when you started, just without even the visuals.
Yeah.
From when you started, when it was just an idea,
Yeah.
like how you'd come to me and ask me for ideas and everything. I just told you, believe in yourself, and look at where you are now, even doing audiovisual. So I just want to congratulate you for the steps you're doing with your podcast. It's amazing. Every week you have different, or rather challenging guests who enlighten people. If someone actually pays attention to your podcast, then they know every week they're in for a different journey. It's not the same. It's not confined into being the same. So props to you for also doing your research and just getting people who actually impact people's lives in a different way.
no, bro, let me tell you, like, thank you so much, first of all, for that. I really appreciate the kind words, you know. Yeah, and bro, the thing is, like, for me, like, even when I told you when I started, I remember I told you there's a list of guys that I know their stories,
Yeah.
but I want them to come out here and say their
themselves,
stories,
yeah.
give it to their versions. And you see, you are one of them, because I've sat with you so many times, and you know, we've talked, and I know your story, so that's why I really had to have you, you know. But thank you so much for actually taking your time, you know, to come here and, you know, share with us your story. And from me, I wish you all the best, and for sure we'll support you, and we'll put for you the link.
Cheers, bro. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. For those of you guys who have been tuning from home, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Just to Kick It Is a Blessing podcast. Thank you so much, and see you next week. Goodbye.